Alright guys, welcome to the Clack Shack, and I'm going to start this video off by, I know this is a laser video guys, calm down, but the past few days I've been away from the laser. I've been at the sawmill, and I've been in the shop building, and I'm building a backdrop for photos at a big event that we've got coming up here in our county. Usually, 15, 20,000 people, and for a small county, that's a lot of people in one place. And this is going to be more or less a backdrop for photos that I'm working on. I've got a few more things I'm going to add to it to kind of give it a little bit more of a country southern look. But this is what I've been working on, and I've got to a stopping point on it. Welcome back to the Clack Shack, and I've had a couple people ask me a question, and I decided to test the theory because I was unsure. And the question that they've asked is, can you engrave an iPad which is made out of some type of aluminum material on the back? Can you engrave it with an XTool D1? And so I thought about it. I tried to come up with different ways that I'd be able to possibly make an engraving stick to it. And so what I've decided to do is use some spray to try to get that to happen. So stick around for a few minutes, and we're going to go through the steps, and I'm going to bring you along with this experiment. We're going to see how it goes and hope that it doesn't end with the destruction of my iPad. So stick around for a minute. Alright guys, so I'm going to get one shot at this. So I'm going to try to make it count. And what I'm going to do to try to make things a little easier on me, I'm going to be using the jig here, of course, to make sure I get this thing square, because I don't want to mess this up. I don't know how well sanding down an iPad would work. So we're going to try to get this right the first time. So I'm going to incorporate my squaring jig here, and just to make sure I got this thing squared off in there and I ain't got to try to eyeball it. So the first step that I'm going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and get my software over here up, and I'm going to work in the screen recording of what I'm doing, and then I'll show you as well with this camera. So that way you can kind of keep up with what we're doing and see all the steps. If I forget to tell you anything, you can always go back and check my settings in the software. So give me just a minute to get this going, and we'll get it started there. Also, as usual, I will be so for this operation, of course, I will be using my logo. I'm going to make it substantially smaller than that. I don't want it too big. And we're going to try to put it right in the center. And the way I'm going to make sure that this is in the center, for those of you that haven't watched any of my other videos and aren't aware of how I go about doing that, is I'm going to take and I'm going to select the logo, and then I'm going to select the outside line, and I'm just going to use that little center button right there. This little bullseye, it puts things in the center. Now the one that moves is going to be the one that you select first, so keep that in mind. Now, I don't really want it that close to the little apple, so I'm going to move that up a little bit by hitting Control and the up arrow key. Just move it straight up to get it a little away from that little piece of apple there that I so kindly painted over for some folks. So I think that's going to work. But now I need to verify that this square that I have built is actually around the edge of the iPad. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to frame this guy, and I'm going to watch and see if it's actually on the edge of the iPad and how well my camera's doing today. Well, okay. This camera has been just spot on lately. I mean, it could use maybe 1 millimeter to the left, it looks like. So I'm going to hold Control. I'm going to bump left arrow key to move that over. I'm going to frame again, see what it looks like. Okay, right down the outer edge. Man, that's really close. I'm going to give it one more. Let's do that again. Okay, that got it up a little bit on the edge. Okay, it doesn't get no better than that, guys. It doesn't get any better than that. So here's what we're gonna do. I have never done an iPad, and I searched for videos of people that had engraved the iPad. And I found a bunch of them with fiber lasers, found a couple with CO2 lasers. They're saying, you know, maybe it can't be done with a diode laser, and that's kind of what I want to determine today is when I get through with this. I mean, Cermark, the spray that I use, it says that it marks metals, glass, ceramic, brick, slate, and more. I don't know what metals that includes, and I'm not real sure what kind of alloy or whatever they use for these iPads. It's I would say it's aluminum, but it's a little too hard, I think, to be 100% aluminum. So I'm thinking it's probably like stainless aluminum alloy of some kind, who knows. But either way, I have determined that it is metal. And I did that by using the tip of my knife and kind of scratching in a spot that already had some scratches just to see if it would scratch, if it had a coating, if it was painted, or if it was plastic. And it is definitely some type of metal. So this is what I'm going to try, and if it don't work, if when I get through it washes off, then we will mark this up as no, this doesn't work. But if it does work, it'll be really cool, and you guys will be able to do your own if you want. And you'll have a video kind of showing you how to go through the process. So, my power settings, I will be, this isn't stainless, but I'm going to have to go with my power settings being the basically the same as if it was stainless. I'm going to treat it that way, because I know everybody's like, oh, you got to do a test grid. I do not want a test grid on the back of my iPad, guys, and I'm not willing to go buy another iPad to do a test grid. So you're not always, you can't always. Sometimes you just got to wing it, and luckily us here in the South, we're not afraid to tear up some stuff to try to do something cool. So hopefully I'm not going to tear up my iPad. Y'all claim that this thing won't cut through metal. Let's pray that it won't, because I really don't. I've had this iPad a while, and I really don't want a new one. So I've got my new iPad Pro, but there was no way I was putting the iPad Pro in here, guys. So y'all got to see the mini. So here we go. Let's see what happens. I got a little close to the Apple, I can tell that. Or at least it looks that way, but I really don't care. I've got my iPad mini that I use. It's got this life-proof cover, and it's transparent, so that's going to be pretty cool if I can get this logo to work, because you'll actually be able to see the logo through this iPad cover here. And I almost forgot how to get this thing off. Luckily I didn't break it to get it off of there. But we're going to see. I mean, like I said, the reason I use Cermark, let me go ahead and throw this out there for you, you guys that, I mean, I know there's other sprays that'll do it, and I'm not arguing that, I'm not disputing that, but I was not comfortable painting my iPad with anything that was going to be really hard to get off. This stuff is water soluble, which I'm not going to use water because it's an electronic device, and having a background in IT and working on computers and that type of thing, water and electronics don't mix. But what I do have an abundance of, because I use it on my tumblers, is isopropyl alcohol, which coincidentally is the same thing that you should clean computer parts with, because it evaporates so quickly that even if you do spill it, or if it does get somewhere it's not supposed to, it's just going to evaporate and be gone from there. So I'll be using rubbing alcohol to get this off, just to safeguard the welfare of my iPad from water. And we'll see if it comes off when I turn when I put the alcohol to it. We'll see if this comes off, if the Cerakote wipes completely off, or if we actually get some adhesion like we do with the tumblers, because I have no idea. Like I said, it doesn't rust, but it is harder than aluminum because it doesn't dent real easy. So I'm guessing there's got to be some stainless in there. I don't know if it's the right grade. I don't know if the spray, I mean, it didn't say on there it was great for engraving iPads, so who knows. But we got this thing running. I'm gonna break for a minute, and that way I can drop some of the GoPro footage in the video, and it's over here running. So. All right, one more thing while we're at it, guys. The little tip for you here on your rubbing alcohol. When you get this rubbing alcohol, don't tear this plastic out. Just poke a little tiny hole in that. That way you can kind of just use it sparingly. Let me get it off. I don't want to scratch my screen. So let's see if it comes off completely or if we did any good. What happened here? Like I said, this stuff is water soluble, but I have a hard time running my iPad under a faucet, so I'm using rubbing alcohol for it tonight. I did get too close to the apple. They put it right in the middle. So let's see how this comes. It's actually a lot messier without the water spigot, but at least maybe my iPad will survive this. We're gonna fire it up when I get done to make sure we didn't kill it. One thing about it, I've had this thing for a couple of years, and this is probably the first time I've ever actually cleaned it. All right, that rag has gotten contaminated, so I'm gonna grab me another one. I'm gonna lay this one under it. Well, guys, my aim was a little off. I got a little bit of the apple in there. Hey guys, there you have it. I learned 2 lessons on this one. If you're gonna do that, I highly recommend before you spray it with the paint, go ahead and get you some painter's tape or something and mark that area off. That was kind of my bad on that, because I misjudged the size of the graphic, and if I'd have put some tape over that before I sprayed it, that would have given me something to reference to know, exactly where that graphic started. And I didn't do that. I painted over it, so wound up overlapping the graphics. But like I said, that's not my daily iPad anymore. I've got my iPad Pro that I use, so no harm, no foul. It does work. And the cover, unfortunately, until I get this life proof off of this plastic cover, they put it right in the way. So that might have been an oversight on my part too. I probably should have looked at that before I took the case off. But all I really wanted to know was, is it possible? Could I leave a mark on an iPad? And yes, it left a mark. And like I said, I don't know that it would be nearly as tough as it is on my tumblers as far as being able to get it off and having to sand it. But it did work. It is on there, and it did not come off scrubbing with alcohol. And so as long as it stays in this cover, I'm pretty sure it'll be good. But I don't know as far as durability. But like I said, just so you know, it will put a mark on there now. So that's it for today, guys, and I appreciate you stopping by. I just wanted to, people have been asking me if I knew if you could or if it would work on it, and so I just wanted to test the theory to see what it would do, and that's the results that we've had. So thank you and have a good day.